Anyway, something I did want to discuss was Bond. James Bond. Mm-hmm. Have you seen the announcements about Bond?
Yeah, I've seen the director announcement, and then... See, I'm never sure about this information, what's true and what isn't. The top 3 runners, where's that come from?
Amazon has created a shortlist. So for anybody that doesn't know, Denis Villeneuve has been announced as the director, and then Amazon has a shortlist of Tom Holland, Jake Elordi, and Harris Dickinson for Bond. And apparently it's going to be one of them. Apparently it came out that like all the people who people thought it would be, like Aaron Taylor Johnson and Idris Elba, and there was another guy being considered who's slipping my brain. They're all not being considered because they're too old. So
what age was Daniel Craig when he got casted?
He was older.
30 odds.
Yeah, he was older than the actors that they're looking at now.
100%.
And he was also a lot less known.
Yeah. I think something my dad always said was that like whoever is supposed to play Bond, the kind of place that he is in the government, you would spend years getting to. So it's more realistic to actually cast someone that's kind of like a bit older.
Huh.
A 20-odd something actor is a bit strange.
However, actually thinking about it, these actors might be that age by the time it's filming because they've not got a script yet and they want a script before they cast it. And then they'll have to film it. And Denis Villeneuve has 5 other projects.
Oh, right. Well, I'm talking 10 years, so if it were 10 years to get to that point.
I mean, no, the Amazon are not.
Yeah,
the amount that they've spent money,
they're not going to drag their feet on it.
Yeah.
And also, like, some actors can be, like, hot at one point in time and just not by the time you get 10 years in the line.
That's why I think it might be Harris Dickinson, because he'll be playing one of the Beatles. Mm-hmm. And I think that'll propel him. I think he's still at a decent level of famousness or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think that'll really propel him, and then they can announce that he's Bond, and it'll be like, whoa.
I think it should be Harris Dickinson.
Out of those 3?
Yeah. Jacob Elordi...
Yeah, what's your opinion on that? Because he's Australian. So...
I don't mind that as much.
Okay.
I do think it probably should be a Brit that's cast as Bond. He's just the one that I see as Bond the least out of the 3.
That's so interesting. I think he could play a sleazier...
Yeah, I saw somebody talking about that.
Kind of...
And then Tom's just like, he's Spider-Man.
I weirdly like the Tom Holland thing.
I don't want it to be Tom Holland.
I don't either, but I could see it. Of like this very suave, like, Bond.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen him in suits enough that he looks like he could be Bond.
Yeah.
But I think Harris Dickinson would play Bond better.
Yeah. Could you imagine if it is Tom Holland though? I like having Bond and Spider-Man under your belt.
Yeah,
like,
it's wild. Someone hit the lottery.
Yeah, but I weirdly think Tom Holland is a really good actor who's kind of been trapped in the machines of blockbuster filmmaking. I think he's great at Spider-Man, but his like ventures outside of that haven't matched the caliber of actor I think he is. So I'm excited for The Odyssey.
Oh, yeah. Someone's actually going to utilise them.
Yeah. And I think his career would be more interesting if he went down that route of like working with interesting directors and leading different things. However, they did come out and say that the actor that signs on to this Bond movie will only be contractually obligated for that Bond movie. They won't be signed on to... I know, very weird. They won't be signed into a franchise.
That's stupid.
Well, it is stupid.
On the business side.
Yeah. But the likelihood of that movie doing poorly is so little. But if it did do bad, you could just go, this isn't for me. Like...
let's just rotate through Bonds. We're already doing it with Doctor Who. Let's just keep going.
Oh my god.
The length of time that things last doesn't matter.
What if that is a plan for them? Like, every Bond movie is just a different Bond.
It's whoever's like the hottest actor right now. That sucks. Because they really held on to Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
And it made things feel cohesive.
What was... It was Bond and some other character. But Daniel Craig wasn't considered a, like, good actor prior to Bond. Or, no, sorry, that's not what it was. It was... People had such reservations about him being casted because they thought he was the wrong fit for the character. And then ends up being probably the most iconic iteration of that character.
You're gonna say Daniel Craig's the most iconic iteration of James Bond.
Yes. At this point, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's very like recency
bias.
Yeah. People I think would say like Sean Connery or Pierce Brosnan or something. The only films I've seen are Daniel Craig's films.
I just feel like when people say Bond, they go to him. I don't know. Like there was more of a hullabaloo about like his like series of films like coming to like a culmination point and like being a grand cinematic event.
I think that speaks more like cinema now than his iteration.
But I think that's also influenced how people perceive him because it has been like
I think they did build him to be like he is Bond.
Yeah.
But I think if somebody's gonna do a Bond impression, they do like Sean Connery or they say shaken not stirred.
Sure, yeah.
I think Daniel Craig does say in some of the films, but it's never like
no one's doing a
baked
Craig.
in.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say he's more iconic for his Benoit Blanc than than he is his Bond. I don't know. Is there somebody that you'd like to see play Bond?
Off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. Which fits their criteria.
I actually think, because we've sat and casted people like as a laugh and things, I think it's a really hard cast to cast a James Bond. And I don't really know who I would cast as that. I think it should be someone who maybe is lesser known. Mm-hmm. I think in my mind that's why of the three that are out there, like Harris Dickinson is the one that I would choose. I think he's the smallest of the three of them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Although, is he? Is Jacob Elordi that big?
I think so.
Because Harris Dickinson has been in more, when you're talking movies, bigger movies than Jacob Elordi. Like, Jacob Elordi has Euphoria under his belt. But like outside of that, his movies that he's done are actually quite small. Like Priscilla.
I guess it doesn't matter like what you've done as much as it matters.
Talking about Celebrity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
and Jacob Elordi's hot, so
like the Kardashians are just famous for being the Kardashians.
So you're saying cast Kim as Bond?
Please don't do that. Please.
Okay, sorry. My apologies. Kim Kardashian as the Bond girl. She's becoming an actress, Owen.
No, as the villain. I think that would be fun.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually would pay to watch that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. She's like one of the businessy villains.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Bond has to take down her makeup empire.
Yes. Yeah. It just becomes like the Catwoman storyline.
Oh my god. From Catwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brought back memories of that movie. Jesus. Let us know who you would cast as Bond on this episode of Plot to Go.
Wow, that was an intro.
Episode number 27. Because I always have to look that up.
I'm just counting this time. I'm Owen.
And this week, we're talking about Formula One. Vroom vroom. And Ironheart, the new Marvel Disney Plus show. Exciting times, Owen, exciting times. We're fully into blockbuster season.
Yeah, starting off with a good one, I'd say.
It's fine.
It's, it does the job.
Mm-hmm. The most blockbuster movie that's ever blockbustered.
Yeah, it's very much a film where you're like, oh, I'll take my dad to this one.
Absolutely. I had a conversation with my dad earlier. I was like, you going to see the Formula One movie? He said, if it's showing at the film house. Supporter of independent cinema, my father.
It won't be.
Yes. I was like, maybe. Yeah. So we're just going to dive into F1. F1 the movie, sorry. That's its
it has
titled.
a funny name.
Even though all the posters are just F1.
Yeah, I mean, it makes the posters look nicer when they just say F1.
Absolutely, yep. I don't mind the posters for this movie.
No, the one on Letterboxd was fine.
Yeah. Just Brad Pitt looking cool, you know?
A bit Tom Cruise Mission Impossible, I think.
It absolutely is. Yeah. They have tried to do... They made... essentially, they've made Brad Pitt Tom Cruise in this.
They've made Tom Pitt
Brad Cruise. God, what a different universe that would be. If you have not heard of the plot of F1, take any sports movie and you know the plot. We're following Brad Pitt Sonny Hayes, old man who's retired from Formula One because he had a massive accident. When suddenly, I can't remember their team, Apex?
Oh, Apex, yeah. That
Apex Racing.
Yeah.
They are so bad in Formula One. They're bottom rank and they've scored no points. So the manager of the team, Javier Bardem, who used to ride with Brad Pitt, goes and finds him and is like, we need you back for one last ride. And the story is about Brad Pitt working with his young buck teammate, played by Damson Idris, who's like volatile and rowdy.
But the thing is, they both are.
Yeah,
it's
they have the same personality.
It's funny that I think Brad Pitt's like, oh, he's this, and this, and you're sitting there going, what the fuck are you talking about? You. And then I think Javier Bardem is like, yeah, but that's what you used to be. And still, you're like,
has not changed.
Oh, yeah. You're like, so more then?
In all these decades you've been away, you've learned nothing.
I think the film is supposed to be like, oh, Brad Pitt's brash, but like he has the experience to be that. So every time he's got the experience. So when he says something in a really blunt way, it's like, do this because I know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. But you learn as you get through. But like, he's still being an asshole.
But they make him God in this. It's like, if you just do what I say, you're gonna win. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Crazy. And the story just follows him and his teammate as they try to win a Formula One race. They're not trying to win what do they call the entire time? The championship or whatever. They're just want to win a Grand Prix. Yeah.
They're the whole point is that the team, Javier Bardem will not lose the team if they can win at least one race of the season. And I think there's about 9 races left at the start of the film.
Yes, yeah.
So the point is just to win one.
Yeah.
But obviously,
I wonder which one they'll win.
Yeah, which one will it be?
The first one, and then there's no more movie.
Yeah, credits roll.
Owen, what did you think of F1 the movie?
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Even though there's the bits that aren't all that great. No, I was just I think thrilled. Like I think I just had a smile on my face the whole time. I mean, some of it is just egregious, but they do the action very well. When you're in a race, you're in a race.
Yeah. And
it's tense. And I think one of the things that they do well there is actually, ironically, the dialogue and the editing with just when you cut back to people, because in the film outside of the race, you get all the cringe lines and things.
Yeah.
I think when you inside the race, there's a lot of like bouncing, and it's kind of choppy and it's like witty in a lot of ways. It reminds me of Stephen Moffat writing, kind of that like British witticism.
There's a British guy on when there's exactly what you're saying. There's drivers driving and they talk back to like the command box or whatever. There's a British guy on the end. He's like ginger.
Yeah, the ginger one.
Random side character. Had great lines. I was thoroughly enjoying him.
Yeah. So there's like a okay amount of that in this film.
Yeah.
Which I think is why there are other scenes in the film where it actually probably gets more American. Like that kind of like romancy, kind of like cliched sort of plot lines are going on with just kind of like cringed lines that you and Samuel were laughing at a bunch. So I think you get whiplash watching this film, and not because of the racing.
Wow.
Because of the dialogue.
Get that on a poster.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the acting in this is fine. I think people do a good job. I love Javier Bardem, whatever he's in. He has lines that I don't know if they're meant to be funny, but he makes them funny, and not in a way that we're laughing at him. I think we're laughing with him. I think he knows what he's doing.
What was the line where he's like, he goes up to a window and he's
he says, why do I do this?
Well, yeah, why do we do this? It's so melodramatic. Like everything that's outside of the races is so melodramatic. And if you're not on board, you're not on board. But I think this movie makes it very easy to be like, yeah, fuck it, I'm in.
Yeah. I think the film had more potential than what we're given.
Yes.
There's a lot of the like needle drops that we were talking about watching The Karate Kid. Far less egregious than The Karate Kid.
Oh, yeah.
But at least in the first half of the film, there was like a good amount of them while we montaged our way through things. I don't hate a montage, but when you have like 3 in a film within like 1 hour or something, like it's just...
There was a bit which was like song.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah. We were talking about how the score in this film was actually pretty good.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer scored this.
Yeah. But I didn't even notice it until the end of the film.
See, that's crazy to me.
Maybe it's because I just didn't think it was all that good until the end of the film.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
The score is really good. If anybody's heard the soundtrack and hasn't seen the movie, the Don Toliver Doja Cat song is the score, just with their vocals removed. It's that, like, themes. It embodies, like, racing and, like, I don't know, like, gearing up to, like, the starting line so well. And when that's, like, that theme's used, I'm like, oh, this is cool. And then it will cut to a random pop song, and you're like, why?
All I could hear were the pop songs.
Oh.
It was, like, continuous. And then when you're in the race, you're in the race. I don't think there's much music playing when you're...
It depends on the race. There's a lot of montage races that are...
Oh. You'd cut... I would do, like, the Drive to Survive thing of you'd see, like, the race name and then, like, the track.
Yeah.
And then you'd be in it. But there's sometimes... it would just like kind of fly through a race.
And you got to see the shape of the track.
Whoa! I do think that's kind of cool. I like
that's what I loved it. Reminds me of Cars 2, if anybody's seen that movie.
All right. Back to Pixar. One of the things that kind of annoyed me is I like that Sonny Hayes has the whole thing with luck. He's kind of so reliant on luck because of his trauma from the past. But they lean, I think, far too hard into it. Because as you go through the film, you start to like pick up why he's like this and what the little things are that he like does. So he has like odd socks, and like the number 7 on the side of his helmet, and just things like that. I think he has the whole thing with the cards, which I think they happily don't answer. Within the film, but there's just a lot of that, and then there comes a point where the characters in the film start talking about it, and that's where I just kind of...
I think this has an impeccable opening. It is like all of his OCD tics, and it's not explicit. You just like see him getting ready for a race, and he like takes a bite of like a right hand corner of a sandwich and doesn't eat the rest of it. He does like a specific number of pull-ups. The card thing, there's like way more. I felt there was like 10 different things that he did, and at the start, like if you pick up on the fact that that's like superstition and OCD, great. If you don't, it's not gonna like impact your enjoyment of that scene. I just thought it was so like subtly used, kind of what you're saying. They go too far into it at the end where it's like, oh, you don't need to explain that. I feel like that's quite a common thing for sports people.
Oh, 100%. Anyone who's like an athlete or a performer has like, not anyone, but like anyone could.
Everyone
has it.
Have you not seen everybody has a card in their pocket? I do think the way that comes back around though, like having a card in your pocket, I think that was utilised well, but it's the other stuff that doesn't need to be. Like Kerry Condon going, look at my socks! No!
Yeah, it's because the card they didn't answer. And it's like the one through line of like, oh, he's doing this thing every time. Like, this is the one that he needs. This is the one that he really cares about. But yeah, the socks thing was just... why?
Silly. Yeah, I'm in very much agreement with you.
Thanks.
Everything outside of the cars, I thought... I actually, in a lesser movie, would be dog shit. Like, truly terrible. It is like script written by AI kind of shit. The lines are so cheesy and ham-fisted. The plot is beyond predictable. I wonder if one female engineer is going to sleep with the driver. Ugh, it annoyed me. Yeah, also, poorly written women in this, sorry.
Yeah.
For the dad man movie, the women are not well written in this at all.
Yeah.
I wonder which person on the pit stop team is going to fuck up. The one woman, perhaps? Bad writing. But I think the performances elevate those lines because they lean into like the melodrama-ness of it. And also then, the majority of this movie is racing, and it is so good. Like, it's shot by the same team who did Top Gun Maverick. They figured out how to shoot planes. They figured out how to shoot cars. Like,
the easier of the two, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved every time they would use this camera movement where the camera would be placed on the front of the car.
Yeah.
And you'd be like going with the track, and then you'd 180 quick, and you'd see the driver, and you're like, oh, that's cool. Wow. Like, really well shot. I was a little trepidatious because I think the third act of Top Gun Maverick is like impeccable action filmmaking. Like, you're really in it. And I was like, I don't know if they'll be able to master that same sort of like immersion. I think they did. Maybe not to the same extent, but like as far as action movies go, like I don't think you're getting much better than this kind of level of filmmaking. And also seeing how, because it is just like races, in Top Gun Maverick they can elevate it by like making the flights more complex and stuff. In this they are beholden to the Grand Prix that are there. Yeah. Like, you can't, we put flaming wings on the track. Like, you can't do any of that. But I think the way that they chose to elevate it was actually pretty cool. I do find it a little bit ridiculous that we're like, Sonny Hayes, the best racer there's ever been. And you're on the track, and because this is filmed in like our world, they're like, oh, Lewis Hamilton cocked up. And you're like, well, okay. That man's been driving in Formula 1 for a while, and this Brad Pitt guy is just like, my like reckless chaos is.
I think for an older gentleman in a race that's unrealistic, but I don't think that's that unrealistic. I mean, Lewis Hamilton had a decent amount of troubles a few years ago when Max Verstappen was on his way up. And then Mercedes, the next year, they changed the rules on how the cars were built, and Mercedes were not able to build a solid car. So Lewis
Hamilton leaked the designs.
So Red Bull did far better, I think. This is all like this could all be wrong, but yeah, Lewis Hamilton's not like
sorry, but I just mean like when they're saying the names of Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen or like George Russell, and they've got all these names, and you're like, yeah, Sonny Hayes, and like the two shitty team members from Apex are suddenly like first and second. You're like, oh,
yeah, it becomes the unrealistic underdog thing.
It did not bother me in the slightest. I just think it's funny.
Yeah. I thought it was quite cool seeing like the real drivers in the film.
Yeah, totally.
There's also real I don't know what their roles are on the teams. I don't know what the names of them are, but do you know the bit where the four people are like sitting deciding what happens during the race, just in front of the sort of like cage or the fence right next to the track, and there's that scene where they're looking back at the other team. That guy does work for.
That makes sense.
I think it's Haas, the team that he works for, which is another one of those teams that team is probably like equivalent to Apex.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and then the interview with the guys in the
I imagined because they were not good at acting. There's a scene where like people get interviewed and it's like the actor and the other people,
right?
And I was like, okay, cool immersion, I guess, but it took me out of it. So
all right. I think it was the lines they were given.
Yeah, if you want to be generous. Shall we talk about the worst plotline?
What
in my
is the
opinion,
worst plotline?
I would say the romance.
Oh, right. That's whatever. It's cliched.
It's cliched, but it's like beyond cliched. Like Brad Pitt just all of a sudden appears and she is like dropping trousers for him immediately. It is nuts.
Yeah, she gives him a look the first time she sees him.
Yeah. And then every time we cut back to Kerry Condon, she's like, flirty eyes. Hey.
Whilst telling him to fuck off.
Yeah. But
For
like
2/3 of the film.
But like fuck off. But like I just thought it was egregious. Every time we cut back to her, she's like, I'm trying to like figure out a way to make the car more better.
Uh-huh.
That's the extent of what we learn. And then we see that she makes the car better by putting a curve.
Aerodynamics, Jack.
Aerodynamics, oh god.
It's made for
Attack
combat.
mode, yeah. I just that was the plotline that bothered me. I don't know if you're aware of the of Simone Ashley being cut from this movie. Are you aware of this?
I am actually.
Did you notice her in the movie?
No.
So she's there in one scene, as far as I could see. It's a the first time we cut to a Grand Prix, and we're cutting through like all the different racers and stuff. She's there. It's just in a blink and you'll miss it. Montage.
Interesting.
Do you know what her role was in this movie?
She no idea. I knew she was another racer.
No. So she was the girlfriend of Damson Idris.
I thought she was another racer.
I'm pretty sure that's not.
Alright, okay.
Because he had a whole romance plot that was cut.
Oh.
And I struggled to see how that fits into the movie. Because Damson Idris weirdly has this like lack of character development for the entirety of the movie. He has major things that happens to him and still doesn't really change as a person until he realizes it takes him having to prove Brad Pitt's right.
Yeah. For
him to actually be like, oh, I guess I should change. But I wonder how like she was going to fit into
all that.
Was she gonna help him? This sounds cliched, but it works for this movie. But she was gonna make him realize that he should change. Like he's acting too much like Brad Pitt or whatever. Everything's really odd. That
she's cut a whole person
and not actually feel like there's the hole in the movie. Yeah. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I saw something about it, they said that it didn't work in the edit. And so that kind of makes sense if they've managed to put a whole film together and it didn't make a difference.
Yeah.
Shame though.
Also, I think speaks to how women were written in this. If you can cut a female character and just leave no impact on it.
Yep.
Fun. Sorry about that, Simone Ashley, but I'm sure she had fun traveling the world.
Yeah. Yep.
Very cool that this was shot at the Grand Prix. I mean, I don't know where else you'd do it. Like, do you know?
On a green screen?
Yeah, I guess. It felt real. I think, honestly, this is why it's getting such a good reception, is that this feels like blockbuster filmmaking of a bygone era, kind of. Which is what Top Gun Maverick felt like.
Yeah, they definitely, I was still like, oh, that's CGI for some of it, but a lot of it was real. And you could feel that just making that point, because Top Gun Maverick felt even more real.
Yes, yeah.
Compared to this, but then I think that's because like Tom Cruise does everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's hard because comparing it to that movie, it's like a little unfair, but like it's also completely justified because it's the same team. But that movie just manages to capture action so well. I actually still have the same reservations about that movie that I do with this. I still think the plot, I think it's a lot better than this. But it still is very thin and very predictable.
Yeah, it's straightforward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that I don't ever think that that's a sign of a bad movie. You just have to do it really well.
You have to do everything else really well.
Yes. And also, like, there's bad cliche and good cliche.
What's a good cliche?
I don't know. Like, The underdog winning. That's not a bad cliche.
Right.
Bad cliche.
Woman
falls in
no
love
impact.
with driver.
Right.
Like, and the most hilarious needle drop on the planet.
What was that?
When it's in the trailer, so not really spoiling, but two characters share a kiss.
Oh my god, it was excellent.
They they kiss, they slam against the wall, and then like a beat drops and the needle drops so bad.
I loved it. An excellent moment. The best needle drop of the film. There's one that's really funny. It's they're in the pub.
Oh yes,
And they're having like a moment where they're kind of arguing, and then suddenly the music starts, but the conversation's not over yet.
Nope.
And it's not reached a point where like that's the hard hitting thing to like have the music play. It just kind of starts.
Yep.
Like someone just kind of
Turned it on. It feels
and just dropped it, and then didn't add like the ramp
Wait,
up.
you ever been in a bar where that happens? Where you're in the middle of a conversation and suddenly the music turns
it's
on?
immersive.
I had that happen to me yesterday. I felt like I was in F1.
All right.
Yeah. Just arguing over a pint. It's something I noticed as well as film is like acting with food and drink. Every time they were sipping those beers, nobody takes a sip like that. Oh, just a little sip of beer.
All right, hard man.
Okay. I honestly don't have much more to say about this movie. It's like absolutely fine. I think. Would you recommend this?
Funnily enough, I think I'd recommend this one in a cinema.
Yeah, that's
but at home, I mean, you can still watch it, but you're not going to get like the impact of the racing. I don't think.
Yep. I agree. I think this was made for the cinema,
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
which is cool though, because like if people
It is
look
cool.
at it and they go, "Oh, that I feel like I want to see that on a big screen," it gets people into the cinema.
I honestly thought this. I don't know. We were filming this on Saturday, so projections haven't really, or box office numbers haven't really came out. I was expecting this to flop. I don't know if it will. I think this might do quite well.
Yeah, I think that happens with a lot of kind of brainless movies.
It was packed, the cinema we were in as well.
It was, yeah.
A lot of men.
Oh yeah. There was a type of person leaving the cinema,
Yeah.
and you know that they all probably watch F1 like religiously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we saw opening like day, like you'd expect that,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah.
But yeah, I think this, because of like how quick succession we have with blockbusters, I think this will do well. I think Jurassic World's gonna flop because of this.
Right. Okay.
No,
is that on my? Which one did I have on the fantasy films?
Ooh, who
I have
knows?
Jurassic World, don't I? Wait, no, I don't think I do.
I'm not saying.
That's whatever. We'll get to that in a few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna update our fantasy drafts in a few weeks,
Yeah.
which should be fun. Okay. That was F1. Go see it.
Yay.
And if you've seen it, let us know what you think. Vroom vroom. Shall we talk about Ironheart?
Yeah. Now on to how do we make this a tangent?
You wanna
Yeah.
cars, mechanics. She's a mechanic. Chicago.
She's not a mechanic. She's an engineer. How dare you?
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
I wonder if this engineer will fall in love with Sunny Hayes.
I like her name's stupid, and then he talk about his stupid name in the film.
Yeah.
He's like, which is it, Sunny or is it Hayes? They mean different things. Which one is it?
It's a good name. It's a good movie name though.
Yeah.
Whenever they're like Sunny Hayes, you're like, oh yeah. Okay. I'm sad.
Yeah. Fucking listen up to this guy.
What's Maverick's name?
Ethan Hunt.
Yep.
Maverick's name.
It's Maverick though. You just refer to him as Maverick, I guess.
Fucking, that's not a thing that you should. that doesn't give you an answer.
Maverick's name.
Yeah. It's Pete Mitchell.
Oh no, that's so bad.
We've got Bloke here who's playing Maverick.
Can you imagine if they didn't have their call signs? Pete Mitchell.
Pete Mitchell.
That sounds like an EastEnders character.
That's a guy that does. It does. Yeah, Pete Mitchell, who's like died and come back twice in EastEnders. Just the Wikipedia like has the character as Pete Maverick Mitchell.
No, it's getting worse.
Excellent.
Incredible. Yep. Thank God they had call signs. Anyway, Ironheart. Her name Riri Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you want to plot summary this? Should I plot summary this?
You go ahead.
Okay. Spoiler warning, because it's TV. We do talk spoilers for TV.
Oh yeah, we just get right into it. And there's not a lot of this show in general. There's going to be 6 episodes,
Yep.
right?
This
and
is first
3
3
are out.
Yeah.
So
next week's the last 3.
yeah, may as well.
Yeah, if this was a week to week, I don't think we'd be talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's enough
to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ironheart follows Riri Williams after the events of Black Panther. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, which is where her character was introduced. This show, I think, was supposed to come out in 2022, which is hilarious.
It's funny because, not to interrupt your plot summary, but in this, they acknowledged that it's been 4 years.
Yes.
Which means that it lines up in terms of like our time with Wakanda Forever, I think, 'cause that's 2021, right? Was it also 2022?
As in, Wakanda Forever, our time of release.
The release time
was 2021. Oh, it had to be. Oh, no,
Which is... So it's just funny that like they delayed the film enough that we've caught up with the space between the first project that she was in and the second project she was in.
Oh no, 2022.
Oh, it's 2022.
So 2023, I think. Then this was meant to come out, maybe.
Anyway,
yeah. We pick up with her, as you say, 4 years after the events of that movie, and she is being kicked out of MIT.
Yep.
Because I think the implication is she hasn't focused on her degree. She's just been using their facilities and resources
to build a suit.
Yeah. And she makes like no plans to actually go towards her degree, which is really weird. I guess this must be the American way of doing degrees, because I was sitting there going,
the credits.
How would that happen? Yeah.
And I think on top of that, she's also plagiarizing because she's helping a flurry of people to like do their projects.
Which is I really enjoyed that. Actually.
That little montage. I really enjoyed the start of the first episode. Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
We pick up. She's been I was going to say resigned. What's the not laid off? Expelled. Thank you. From MIT.
She was getting made redundant.
Been there, Riri. And she flies back to her hometown of Chicago. Her suit crashes, and we are picking up with her trying to rebuild her suit from scratch, being like nowhere near as financially I was going to say financially well endowed. That's not right. Financially, like
just wealthy.
Nowhere
near as wealthy.
To be able to like facilitate her building. So she's like back to like junkyard, scrappy building, and she is looking for ways to get money and financially support herself to build a new Ironheart suit. Which is cool. Owen?
Did you think that the university were going to call up someone to come and take the suit back off of her? Because I assumed that even though she had it paid for with her grant money, that it was property of the university.
It would be, under what she's signed.
Yeah, she said something along the lines of like, I need an escape plan.
Yeah.
As she's flying back to her home.
Yeah.
And then that just never... She doesn't escape. Is the escape plan to get home?
Oh no, yeah. I think the escape plan is fully.
It's like a straight line.
No, I genuinely just think that's when they're escorting her out. She just needs to take as much of her stuff with her.
When she's already flying home, she says something like, "I need an escape plan."
Oh.
To the little, the thing.
The little AI thing. Yeah. I imagine, yeah, literally just a route home.
Anyway.
But sometimes you have to say cool things to your AI. I need an escape plan. Like, it would have been shit if she went, take me to Chicago. Come on.
I think she does say that. That's a whole bit.
Yeah, but 1-2 punch.
The 1-2 punch is like a funny bit and then a cringe cliche dialogue.
Okay. Wow. What do you want to do? Do you want to go episode by episode, or do you want to just talk
about it in general?
Yeah, okay.
I thought it was good, but I'm just kind of like meh. In general, okay. I think I'm so just kind of bored of superhero stuff in general. So I think coming into that is affecting me somewhat. It's feeling, it's not generic. It felt kind of Disney Channel to me at some points. And then at other points it's very grounded and real and quite emotional. And then within the same scenes it can feel like that. There's the point where she gets given those headphones and they have like the voice of her best friend in them, which is like a really beautiful bit. And then for some reason some scriptwriter wrote Natalie at the point where she's supposed to be crying, and it just pulled me out of it, because you've got Riri there crying and then she goes like, Natalie, but you don't need to explicitly tell the viewer that that's what's happening.
Yeah.
And it was there's just little bits like that in the show that I think are grinding my gears, even though I shouldn't be expecting anything of it to be it is like a Disney Plus show about superheroes, but it's just little things like that are kind of griping me. I think overall it's interesting and it has an interesting direction, and I am absolutely loving seeing her character, because she appears in Wakanda Forever. I don't really remember much about her. I don't think she's in it that much, and I don't think they do enough with her.
No, because she goes with Shuri to oh my god, Namor's land. I've forgotten the name of it.
Atlantis.
Talocan.
Oh, never mind.
Wow, pulled that. Yeah,
good job.
But Shuri is the one that's taken on the adventure with Namor, and she is kind of sitting.
Yeah.
And then she builds her suit, helps in the final battle. That's it.
Yeah. And so we get to this point, and I think in my mind I was like, what are they actually going to do with the character they barely introduced? And what they do is they basically introduce the character.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
But it's thoroughly interesting. They do one of my favorite aspects of, because essentially this is a very similar thing of like, she's building a suit, like the parallels are not all that similar, but like she is being her own iron person in whatever way. And one of my favorite things he did with Tony Stark is like they try and have him out of the suit a shit ton, and being kind of scrappy, especially when you get to like film 1 he builds the suit, and then film 2 he's kind of comfortably has his suit, and he does like they have like the weird element, the bit where he creates an element I wasn't a fan of as a kid. I prefer it more as an adult because you get to see the stuff with his dad, but like I think he just like firmly was fine in the second film. I mean, he tries to save his life, so maybe that's not true. But the third one, you have him like again scrappy, like he's kind of having to do everything from square one again. I love that sort of thing when you have someone building something, and she's kind of in that boat. She's having to be scrappy. Yeah,
I enjoy the parallels to Tony. This, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I think that comes from expectations a little as well, because the show wasn't marketed. It was dumped on Disney Plus. Its release schedule, everything. I just thought this was going to be a slog to get through. In the first 3 episodes, I was like, I think this is better than the majority of the shows they've made. That's not saying much, but I think it's paced more like a proper TV show.
Yes.
Like you get to sit in scenes with characters, and
I think you also end
wow.
an episode that feels like the end of an episode of
Yep.
TV.
Totally. This does not feel like a movie that's been split.
No.
Which is nice. Like, episode 3 is the heist episode. Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
I think the strengths of the other shows are also strengths here. Her as a lead character. I think they always get great lead performers and actually great, like, character development for their lead characters. Which I'm really enjoying the route she's taken. But picking up on what you were saying, I think it's really interesting how this is a legacy sequel to a character that we've seen. And I think, depending on how this wraps up, it might be the best legacy person that we have. Because it's not a direct Hawkeye. Hawkeye is training the next Hawkeye. Which is cool, that's cool in itself. But this being like thematically the same as Tony, where she's having to do shadier shit to like get where she's going. Like, I think people have been giving this shit, which for a variety of reasons. But one of the reasons people saying like, oh, she's meant to be a superhero, and she's like the majority of the time we spent with like a crew of like criminals. The first movie is Tony Stark being a weapons supplier.
It's so funny
for war.
I think that speaks volumes to like how aware people are, just like socially and politically, where like it's fine when it's somebody with money doing it.
Yeah.
But like when somebody that doesn't have money is having to do shady shit, suddenly it's a problem.
Totally. And I think that being like the narrative thread that we've got so far of her being like, she's not a millionaire, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, like all of that stripped from her, but she's still trying to go on the same thematic journey as Tony. Fucking fascinating to me. And I don't know, has the MCU ever dealt with wealth like this? I like that she's like, I don't have the money to do what I want to do. And it's kind of, in no means is this the same caliber as this show, but it's kind of the Andor thing of, there are, like, if you want to see change in the world, there are some people who are going to have to do kind of more shadier shit to finance and like kickstart a rebellion or like build a suit that's eventually going to help people. Like, I really, really enjoy that aspect of this. And I did not expect that would be a like thematic through line. And then also, so you have like her going like the thematic Tony journey.
Yep.
And then the reveal of Alden Ehrenreich being Obadiah Stane's son.
Yep.
Like a cool way to like...
Did you know that was going to happen?
Episode 2. I really enjoyed episode 2.
Yeah.
And I just like looked at some reviews of episode
Right.
2. As one of the reviews was, and it's really obvious that he's Obadiah Stane's son. I was shocked.
I think I found out like more than like a week ago or something.
Oh, really?
I don't know how, because the show wasn't fucking out.
Yeah,
So
and it wasn't
obviously-
promoted.
Yeah, so obviously like he'd been casted, and then someone had mentioned it on like a TikTok or something. I actually did a similar thing when I was watching episode 2, where I looked up the actor because I was like, "That's Solo from
Yep, I
Han
did.
Solo."
Yeah.
And then I found out there's another character in this show that's I probably won't say more than that, but there just is another character in the show that
we
I didn't
haven't
know was gonna be. No, we might have met.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so intrigued by that. Okay.
Yeah. Because I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
I can't really say much without being like, this is who
Spoiler,
I would be
yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Intriguing. But that's a cool way to continue the legacy of the MCU that doesn't feel like ham-fisted or like if you've seen the Iron Man movies and you know that, cool, but also here you get a very quick not like forced written bit where he's like, here's what happened to my dad and Tony, and here's why I'm thinking what I'm thinking about the Iron Suit and stuff. And going back, like episode 2, when he's looking at Riri and looking at the suit, makes a lot more sense why he's like,
Yeah.
which I enjoyed.
I do think they jump a little quickly with him becoming like
Yep.
crazy.
Yep.
It's funny though. I do think they've done a little bit of a subversion where I think you were supposed to think this guy's going to be a villain, and then in the third episode you're like, oh no, he really doesn't want to be.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering where they're.
So because it could go either direction.
Yeah.
But it's cool that it was her that whatever happens with him,
Mm-hmm.
she's kickstarted him going down that route, which is cool. I'm not like 5 out of 5 stars on it. There is totally stuff that doesn't work with this. I think less Disney Channel. I think this is more elevated CW.
I think I see Disney Channel because there's the bit where Natalie's on the screen, and she's like trying to hack, and she's like, It's like their relationship gives like a Disney Channel duel, the way they're bouncing off of each other at times.
Hannah Montana and her friend. Right, I just want to ask you about that because I think a strength of a lot of these Disney Plus shows are their side characters. The shit thing about it is like you're never gonna see these characters again. Really, I like that they've kept her squad small, but like Miss Marvel's little smart friend who discovers she's a mutant. Can't remember his name. Will we ever pick up on that?
Fuck no.
Really like him. When's he gonna appear again? Like,
I don't think they have space for these characters.
no, they don't. That's the issue.
Anywhere.
Yep. But it's the issue when you're telling, like, when you're doing shows, because the shows can't be like Miss Marvel and Kate Bishop and Ironheart together. Like, you need side characters for all these side characters essentially in the MCU.
Should they have just done to flesh out characters more, like a Disney Plus show that was a run up to a movie? Like each episode would have different characters in it, and there would be characters that we'd already seen in previous Disney Plus shows, a bit like what CW would do at the end of like, or like in the middle of a year, all their TV shows would like kind of join into an overarching story.
Can you think of like an example where that would be able to happen? So like Thunderbolts, we'd get a Yelena story beforehand. Is that what you mean?
No, a lead up TV show that is one TV show that's a one-off to like Avengers Doomsday.
Oh.
You'd flesh out the characters before you had that film.
An Avengers TV show.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that is the... I would like to think that that's the goal of this. Is that they're going to flesh out young Avengers. I honestly think that would be the more interesting thing is TV and film work like concurrently. Mm-hmm. You end TV with a big like Avengers type of thing. And then that links into the movies. Because like... This is cool learning about her character. I don't know how much of this will be... Well, actually, we can use other things as an example. Moon Knight, or like...
Moon Knight's just dropped now, right?
I think so. I don't... Like, Oscar Isaac's not been confirmed for Avengers, so I... But see, that I think is cool. If you watch to Moon Knight Season 1, Moon Knight Season 2, not all these characters have to become Avengers.
Right.
But, like, She-Hulk, for example... She will be in Avengers, maybe?
Is she cast
I
in
don't know. I
Avengers?
don't think she's actually been announced now that I'm saying that.
Is Mark Ruffalo cast in Avengers?
No, actually. Is there any TV person that's been announced for the Avengers? Was Kamala... No, Kamala wasn't. God, wait, that's nuts if there isn't.
But there's people from 20 years ago that have been cast.
That's why it was more the X-Men than the TV show. See, that's weird to me. Because you've spent time building up these characters.
Do you think they just cast people, like, told the public about these people because they wouldn't be able to hide it? Like, it would be big news if they had brought them
Maybe,
back.
but I've not seen many leaked set images or any.
They are shooting now, though, right?
They are, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that'll be quite tight, but, like, when they film in public, you can't really hide that.
Yeah.
There was streets. There was photos of the streets in Endgame with like Tony Stark and Captain America and stuff standing on the street, and I think Paul Rudd was there too. So there was already like, oh, there's gonna be time traveling. Blah, blah,
Yeah.
or a different universe, which I also thought was quite cool at the time. Yeah.
Oh, that was pre-multiverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in those days.
Back in those days before we had too much multiverse.
Yeah, truly. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Natalie then, because like talking about the side character stuff, I personally thought she was a standout of this. I really liked her dynamic with Natalie, and like kind of specifically there's a like the whole idea of like her bringing back her best friend, and is that her, is that not her, is it AI, whatever. But specifically there was a scene with her mum where her mum was like, oh, can you bring back like her husband? And like she was like, I don't even know how I did this. Like, I don't want, like, you can see there's like proper confliction with the way that she's is confliction a word? Yes.
It is now.
Like with what's happened, and like,
well, you said Natalie was a standout.
Yeah.
I like their dynamic. You're talking about a scene between her mother and Riri.
But like the way that dynamic evolves throughout the show, I thought was really interesting.
The dynamic between her mother and Riri.
No, sorry, Riri and Natalie.
Right. Okay.
No, it is. Her name is Riri.
I think Riri's the standout of the show.
Well, yeah.
Natalie, yeah, I'm interested to see where it goes, but at the moment, I just feel like she is a bundle of joy, and there's not been enough to like dig into.
You want like a
proper discussion, because they're just skirting around a lot of it just now. Actually, another bit annoyed me was like Riri being like, how can you know that? But Riri's she's a smart person.
Yeah.
She knows that this person was produced from her memory, so if she knows it, she knows it. Like, just like...
Sure, yeah.
Things that are like, why are you asking that? You're the most intelligent person in the room at any point in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Fair. I don't know. I guess it's hard to talk about because the series hasn't wrapped up, but like they're sowing the seeds that I enjoy, like this, her being quite avoidant, not wanting to interact with this AI, and then how that's slowly seeping. It does culminate in the end of episode 3, which you're talking about like cheesy lines. I can't remember what the line was because I watched it long ago, but the end of episode 3 I thought was, oh, that was a Disney Channel line, like,
fuck, what was the
like, how can I do this, like, or what have I done?
That was a bad ending.
Yeah.
Because I think they're... Yeah, sorry. The ending is Natalie going, are you okay? And then spending too long on Riri going, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Cut to black.
Yeah.
And then it's just like...
Yeah.
We could
I think we
tell.
got that. Yeah. You killed a man. Moving, I guess, to the villains. What do you think that whole... Well, villains, I don't know.
More interested now. In episode 1, I was like, why is this guy cosplaying in his fucking cloak?
The cloak is bad. It's really bad.
It's really bad. I think I'm fine with it now. But in episode 1, he has like casual clothes on and his cloak over it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Why is this kid running about in his cloak? By the time you get to episode 3, I think he has like all black getup and then like his red cloak or whatever. So it like elevates it. I don't know. I think the material looks... I think it's the shape or something, or whatever he's wearing it with, that makes it look like a child running around in a cloak. Because it looks fine when it's set up on the mannequin as well. I'm happy with where this is going, villain-wise. Because we have whoever that guy is. We have possibly... what's his name? Is his name Joe? No, it's not. That's what they call him.
Yeah, it's...
Ezekiel,
yeah. Zeke.
Possible that he could be something much worse. We'll see. And then the true villain of this show, billionaires.
Truly. Tony Stark.
Yeah.
I am interested because obviously this was pitched as like the mechanical versus the magical. That hasn't really shown up, I don't think, all that well until little bits in episode 3. I'd rather they keep it as this like billionaire, more financial, that feels grounded. I don't know where that magic's how that's gonna play into
Currently, he bends bullets and goes invisible.
Yeah.
So I'm interested.
Well, we've seen magic in the MCU.
Oh, right, sure.
So I wonder if it links to... Because we've seen different forms of magic. Chaos magic.
Indeed.
That's chaos magic, Wanda. That makes you the Scarlet Witch.
I want to watch Agatha again.
Same. So good. So good. Yeah, I thought they were fine until episode 3.
Oh. Oh, you mean the Cloak Man?
Actually, him, I'm like, meh.
Or are you thinking of the squad as well?
Yeah, I'm talking about the squad at large.
The squad in my mind are just like these side characters that are just there to propel the plot forward.
I like the drag queen.
Right, okay.
I think they...
Slug, thank you.
They've elevated Hacker to just like something... Yeah. When they're doing the most evil shit and she's clicking her nails, I'm like... yeah. I don't know. I enjoy that. The rest of them take her. The blood brothers, blood twins, whatever they call them, whatever. They're just like, we need action scenes.
We need muscle.
Yep.
But they do give them a funny bit of like what everyone's going to do with their money, and they both turn at the same time and go, Fight Club.
Yeah.
That's what they were doing before they had the money.
It's funny. But they're fine. I like the other girl. Can't remember her name. Clown.
Yeah, she's fun.
Yeah. Also, sowing seeds of like, doesn't fully trust Cloak Man.
Yeah.
And I did enjoy the dynamic he had with his cousin before his cousin. I enjoyed how that resolved as well. I didn't expect his cousin to like...
Me either. I was shocked that she let that happen.
Yeah.
And I'm also... I do think the way that episode ended was really cool. Aside from the last scene.
Yes, yeah. Agreed.
Because it's sat at you with like, oh fuck, where does this go? Mm-hmm. Especially because the cloak essentially told him like, this is how your cousin died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool. I had a point about those people though, and I can't remember. Oh, yeah. Speaking of those blood brother, I can't remember what they're called. The action scenes in this are bad. I don't think the action's been all that good, but I don't care really.
Mm-hmm. Can you name a...
Just anytime there's fighting. I just don't think it's been that...
Has there been a lot of fighting?
No,
I
there
think
hasn't.
There was some... Yeah, I agree. There was some bit where they were fighting like security guards.
That scene is horrendous.
There's also, I was laughing, the one of the blood sisters like punching glass, but doing it in slow motion. Because they're suffocating, but they're not underwater.
Oh,
and I thought that was hilarious. Surprisingly, the CGI in this show's been pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a bit wonky, but like it's TV.
It's crazy how good it looks.
Yeah.
Her suit looks great. Yeah. I also really like... Who knows where they're going to go with her suit? Please, don't let her just get billions and make it nanotech.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's still... I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh, it's clunky.
Yeah.
Like, it's... And not in like the horrendous way her suit was in Wakanda Forever.
Also, the start of the show. I don't know if you thought that way. The Mark III, maybe, at that point.
What, the one that she has at the start of the show?
Yeah, the one that she flies and destroys.
It's the same suit.
The way it's polished, I don't...
Okay, right, that's... So, I think... I'm not sure what she gets back together, but she loses the mask at the start of the flight.
Uh-huh.
And so, I think that's the bit that you see her making when she's got the headphones on. And the mask looks Iron Man-y now.
Yeah.
I think it was a sheet of glass before with like lights, but now it's like carved metal.
Also, tech has evolved as well, because the way that she's shot inside her suit looks better than anything Iron Man had.
Do you think?
Yeah, there's more of a 3D... There's more depth to her.
Yeah, you might be right.
That I was just like, oh, cool. There has been like evolutions of how this is shot.
Yeah.
You know... All in all, I think this is good. I think that it has style to it as well, in the way that I was like, first 2 episodes of Miss Marvel, great, because it felt like, oh, this is the New Jersey. It's New Jersey, isn't it?
I don't know.
The new. Well, I'm gonna say New Jersey.
The new something.
It's new.
It's fresh. New means
truly.
Sorry.
Reference. Yeah, that felt like New Jersey. Like you got a sense of that place, like. there was obviously the cool stylistic stuff they did, like heavily stylistic and that.
Oh,
which
Ms. Marvel
went away.
I was going to say in this, I think they're trying too hard, not with like, I think the style comes from, like you said, like the place that they're in, and that's baked in.
Music as well.
Music. I don't like, it's such a tiny gripe. You know the opening cards with
No,
Ironheart?
you don't like them.
I just think it's like, wow, it's just unnecessary.
I thought the first one was awesome.
I think that was the worst one.
No, that's so
It
bad.
happens and I'm just kind of like, what? So is the implication isn't that this is in her head and it's not happened in reality, so what's happening? Why are we seeing this?
Suspend your disbelief for one.
No, I refuse.
Have some fun.
I refuse. I think it's stupid.
I'm always for a theme intro though. Like, it bugs me that we don't get more intros for shows anymore.
Oh no,
there's an art to it.
I love a good intro.
Yeah.
You could try and call this art.
Wow. What a nice way to wrap up that discussion. You could try and call this art. Would you recommend the show? Oh, I guess people are...
I'm gonna say no.
Oh.
But not because I think it's a good show.
Huh.
I think people just wouldn't take the recommendation. I think people are exhausted with superhero stuff.
I was thinking about this recently. I don't think it's superhero. I think it's MCU superhero shit specifically.
Well, because Superman's coming out.
Because Superman's coming out and nobody is going like, ugh. Also, been doing a little rewatch, or first time watch of the Superman movies. My god, this might be the first good Superman movie. I don't think there's been any.
Right, okay. I think, as far as I'm aware, the ones... so there's 4 of the original, right?
It's 4 original, yeah.
1 and 3 are supposed to be good and 2 and 4 are supposed to be bad? Or 2 and 4 are supposed to be good and 1 and 3 are supposed to be not as good?
I thought 1 was fine. I really enjoyed 2.
Right, okay. 3 that will be awful then, I think.
I think 3 and 4 are horrendous.
Alright.
There's such a... This is not time for this podcast because it would take ages. Highly recommend people read up about Donner, Superman, or like Christopher Reeves. The production history behind specifically films 1 and 2 is mental.
They shot them back to back.
Briefly though, okay, Superman 2, 70% of it was shot. Then there was a whole big long story, financial stuff, espionage, blah 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 blah. Somebody else came in, and the board of whatever the board is that has like laws about filmmaking said that if the new director wanted his name credited with that new movie, at least only 40% of it can be footage from an old director. So they went back and shot most of the film with this new director, even though they'd shot the film.
That's wild.
And added in certain scenes and stuff to fill out this percentage. But there was actors who wouldn't come back to do the reshoots.
Yeah.
So, like, Gene Hackman is there as Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Anytime it cuts to him, it's the original cut. But because they've used that original footage, they had to fill it out with other stuff to make it more of a percentage for this guy, Richard Lester, I think his name is, to get the credit of director. I listened to podcasts on both movies, and about 30 minutes of each podcast was the history. It is some of the most fascinating shit you'll ever hear. It's be so cool.
I also want to watch those because I was never interested in Superman because I tried watching the first one when I was a kid and I just was not interested.
Yeah.
I think I might have seen all of it, but it just did not resonate with me and did not stick. I did watch Man of Steel when I was like 14 and I did thoroughly enjoy it.
Of course.
Yeah. I haven't rewatched that. I still think that gets too much hate.
I wrote a big essay about why I don't like it, so...
I know you don't like the film.
Yeah.
I think your gripes of the film are probably more like filmmaking versus a lot of people's gripes of the film being like it's gritty
Superman,
and stuff.
yeah.
And the problems with the character.
Oh, absolutely not.
Go.
Do you know what's really fascinating about that though? Having went back and watched these, Superman's nothing. He is so boring as a character.
Well, I think that's the problem. Why Superman is a difficult character to put in anything, because I think he is so like goody, in the same way as Captain America is. and the MCU managed to do it with Captain America by having him kind of be at blows with the system that's supposed to be good but isn't. And honestly, seems like that's what they're doing with Superman.
You're so right.
So
I honestly think the political state of the world is going to help Superman.
Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about that.
Oh, really? Interesting. Who knows? I'm really excited for that movie. The more that I've been watching these old ones and going like, fuck, I don't particularly love any of these. I know a lot of people have a lot of respect for what's his chops, Christopher Reeve.
Yeah, I think I do, even though I've only seen one of those films. I'm interested. There is a documentary about Christopher Reeve as well, which I'd be interested to watch. And I do wonder, do you think, are they well-made films for the time, or?
I think the original Superman is definitely a well-made movie. It's really bizarre. It's so long, and it does not need to be long. Every scene lasts like 20% longer than it should.
Right. And as a child, imagine how excruciating that is.
So when you were saying, as a kid, I'm like, I totally get it. It's nothing like superhero shit now. And I mean that in a complimentary way and also like a negative. It felt like blockbuster shit in the way that like spectacle, but there's no character development or depth to anybody. Right. Anybody in that movie. Right.
So they laid the groundwork for F1 then?
Yes, that's it. That's it. He flew. What if he was in a car? Also, the plot of that movie is just utterly ridiculous when you see the ending.
Around yeah, no, as a child, I was like, that's not how that works. Yeah. That doesn't work.
It's so dumb. Very interested. I presume you'll watch them.
I would like to, but at this point, my homework is for myself, but partially for the podcast. So 2 seasons of The Bear. I will finally watch the last Jurassic World movie before this one, which I have not seen.
Have you seen all the... I'm going to interrupt you.
I've seen all of the Jurassics aside from the last one.
So I'm also in the middle of... I only had ever seen Jurassic Park very recently as well, and then the first 2 Worlds. I just finished The Lost World. Why do people not go on about how good a movie that is?
What, the second one?
Yep.
Because I think it's really bad.
It's great.
Are you joking?
Nope. I think it's great. I think it's one of Steven Spielberg's best sequences he's ever directed.
That movie's horrendous, is it not?
So I have not logged it or looked up reviews yet.
I have seen it.
I loved it.
I remember being like, this is what a fall from grace that this film is.
So I'm in the middle of watching 3 at the moment. I would say that about 3. but 2 I loved.
But 3 is bad but actually enjoyable.
No.
Like 3 is iconic.
I'm on...
Sorry, and my other thing is to watch the Superman movies. So
okay.
I have a lot of homework to do.
You've got time for the Superman movies, so it's not...
I know. But just like... It's funny because I always think that, and then suddenly 3 weeks have passed, and I'm like, but what happened? I'm gonna check this for you.
I have looked though. There's not really homeworky stuff after this. They're all kind of like more original movies.
What would you rate this film?
3.5.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'd have it lower, but I feel like that's probably justified. It is higher than the average on Letterboxd. It's a 3.1.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's almost unanimously looking like a 3. Not unanimously, obviously, that doesn't make any fucking sense. The largest bars is 3 stars, and that is double the amount of 3.5, which is the next one.
Okay.
And then it's like literally a triangle.
Yeah.
I guess it's controversial.
Sure. I just really liked it.
I think more power to you.
Yeah. I could get into it. But I genuinely was like, I'm weirdly enjoying myself. I think this is well directed as well.
Next week is just Jurassic World, yes?
Yes. And The Bear.
Oh, The Bear.
Possibly.
Okay, it could be a big one. Because we could talk about like the Jurassics.
I imagine we'll talk about them because I'm also going to have to watch Dominion.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be horrendous.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Let me just before we end this, or before we go to the question.
Yeah.
If we have one.
We do. We have a question.
Jurassic World Dominion, 2022 already. That's how long ago it was.
Jesus.
It's a 2.2 on Letterboxd.
Oh no.
And the graph is like up to. I mean, by the way, it's one of those ones that has like large bars in each.
What?
Bit.
On like 5?
Well, 5 and 4.5 are tiny.
Okay.
And then 4 and 4.5 are like a third. And then when between 3.5 and 2.5, there's just a lot of like large bars.
Huh.
Yeah.
So some people like it. Yeah.
There's a lot of larger ones towards the end as well.
Do you know what's so weird about it? They made a big hullabaloo about the 3 actors coming back. That made me think that Jurassic World 2 and 3 were not going to be following them. So when I'm like, oh, Jeff Goldblum's in 2 and Sam Neill and Laura Dern's in 3, I was like, so what's the big deal about?
It's still lesser though, because it's just like those characters are by themselves in those films, right?
Yeah,
they
follow...
split up the
yes.
trio. And then by the time
you're bringing them back.
By the time you get to Jurassic World, it's been decades.
I'm really interested. So obviously I've seen Jurassic World.
Yeah.
I cannot, because I had no prior knowledge of Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I can't remember how they link to the universe of Jurassic Park. And I'm so fascinated how they justify being like, yeah, we're going to open the park.
I don't remember how they. I think it's just like, again, it's just like business.
Yeah.
And they just get around it, and I think it's a second island. No, it isn't. I think it's the original island, which is even more bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember like the little. There is like. I think like this nostalgic moments in that original Jurassic World as well.
I love Jurassic World. Off the top of my head.
They try and like go like, remember this thing.
Oh, of course, I'm ready for that. Yeah. Crazy. Question, Owen. We got questions semi-related to F1. The question is, are sports films underrated when it comes to awards season? #cars.
No. I don't know. Is Challengers a sports movie?
See, that's where my brain went. And I was like, that. Justice for Challengers. I don't think so off the top of my head, because I actually think it's, do you know you have your Oscar Best Pictures stuff? Mm-hmm. I think one of the ways to get an Oscar nomination, obviously things are like biopics, somebody's playing a real person, like a real heavy drama. I actually think one of them is be a sports drama, like Moneyball was like a huge sports movie.
What qualifies as a sports movie? Does it have to be like a ton of sports happening in the movie?
I think, centering around a sport. I think sports movies are a good way for technical awards as well. I imagine F1 will get a lot of technical awards.
How did the Iron Claw do?
Oh, it got none.
So then
it was shut out.
Yeah, because I do wonder. I feel like I'm saying no because I don't think sports movies being that good are all that frequent.
Fair.
But in the case that maybe when they are very good, maybe they are ignored or not respected as well.
What? Because Challenger is the Iron Claw.
I mean, Cars, but I don't know. Was Cars nominated?
Cars surely was nominated for animated feature. It would be bizarre. Has not every Pixar movie bar The Good Dinosaur been nominated?
Is that true?
I could be chatting shit. Or Cars 2 and The Good Dinosaur wasn't.
Yeah, I think Cars was nominated for. Cars nominations. There's just a slew of nominations here.
Okay. So I mean, it was at least awarded.
Academy.
What was that? Academy.
Academy Award for Best Animated Feature.
Okay, so it was
2007.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think I genuinely think it depends on the caliber of sports movie as well. I think there's a lot of sports movies that aim for like a more audience friendly kind of But then, actually, in saying that, Moneyball is quite a... I haven't seen it.
I've not seen Moneyball.
But it is like a crowd pleaser, I'm pretty sure.
Like for general audiences.
Yes.
Right.
As well as being a awards contender.
Jesus, this is another Brad Pitt movie.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other sports movies that have came out recently.
I'm going to look up sports movies. Oh, we've got... A lot of them are racing, I think.
Oh, like Gran Turismo.
There's Rush, that's 2013.
Rush, Ford v Ferrari. No, actually, racing's... Again, depending on the caliber. Gran Turismo and Ford v Ferrari, I think, are different calibers of movies.
Creed did well, or no?
Yes. It didn't get Best Picture. The Rocky movies did, though, no?
Oh, I think Rocky 1 might have.
Oh, yeah, I don't know how many of those Rocky movies. No, Creed didn't... Did Creed not do well financially?
I think Rocky won a fucking ton of awards.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, but then we're taught that's decades ago.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So there's slightly different... I do think people love... I think... I just do think it is one of these things that's quite easy to get an award if it's made well.
Mm-hmm.
Because people enjoy it. But then, I mean, there's always going to be exceptions to that rule. Challengers is an exceptionally well-made movie, but it was shut out, so...
So what was the question if it was...
If they're like, if they're, I'll get the exact wording, underrated when it comes to, underrated when it comes to award season. I don't think so.
I'm also going to say no. Because I don't know if I put challengers in a sports movie category anyway, but it has a ton of tennis in it.
Mm.
But you're never watching it for the tennis.
Yeah, but what movie? Oh yeah, like F1. You're watching
for the race.
for the
You're watching a
racing.
fighting movie for the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, there's other. Oh, The Fighter, is that not The Wrestler? Sorry, the Darren Aronofsky movie. There's other stuff around. A sports movie, I think, just has to center around a sport, but there's other stuff around it because that's what makes the movie compelling. But no, I fully don't think they're underrated. I think
They're rated.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm in agreement.
Yeehaw.
Yeehaw!
And with that, we've done another episode. Thank you so much for listening. Next week, we'll be talking, as we said, about Jurassic World Rebirth. Hype levels, Owen?
I think a 5.
Yeah.
Out of 5? No, out of 10.
Whoa! Jonathan Bailey in his slutty little glasses? Yes, please! Their press tour seems to be very fun.
I've not seen anything about it.
It's just like him and Scarlett Johansson and Mahershala Ali just being like fucking goofballs. Also, he's done a really cool... He's like went to the Zendaya school of styling, where like all his red carpet looks have been like... I don't think they look particularly good.
They all got hats?
But they've been, homages to different characters in the franchise.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's cool. One of the people he was referencing was David Schwimmer, who I haven't met yet.
David Schwimmer from Friends.
Yes.
In the Jurassic franchise.
Yes. Maybe it was just a post that was like he's referencing David Schwimmer.
Let me look it up. Because this is, even though I don't remember, it's not a spoiler for me, because I've never... I never noticed them.
Yeah. Is he?
No.
Okay. Well,
according to Google's AI overview, no.
Thank you, Google AI. Okay, well, he's referencing characters and David Schwimmer then. So, wow, can't trust any TikTok you see nowadays.
Oh, David Schwimmer was a paleontologist in Friends.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Never mind, he's referencing famous paleontologists. Fun. Yeah, so on top of that, they've had early screenings, and people are like, yeah. The thing that I find weird about this movie is I think it needed to be like Rebirth. It needed to like really kick the franchise up the arse if you wanted a.
You've not seen it yet, Jack.
I'll
You
reserve
have no
judgment.
idea.
Well, I saw Gareth Edwards' last movie, and that was very beautiful to look at, but the plot was meh, and that's kind of what I'm expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'll be talking about the bear. Bear with us.
Bear with me.
I don't know. It's still a season of TV. I think we will talk about the bear at some point if it's not next week, but we'll aim for next week.
Cool.
Which should be fun.
Alright, Chief.
Heard good things about this season as well, because people are fucking able to binge it already. I'm like, slow down. Some people have other shit to do.
When did it come out?
Yesterday. No, Thursday, sorry.
Yeah, because I think I was scrolling through Disney. Oh, maybe that was last night. Because I watched all of Ironheart last night.
Right.
And fresh.
Mm.
And yeah, I think I did see that pop up, and I was like, oh, it's out already.
Yeah.
I'm a season behind. Now I'm 2 seasons behind.
When does that ever happen with TV though? It's like normally so slow paced, and this time it's like, whoa, another?
I appreciate how fast they put out that show.
So do I. I sadly think this is it. I think there's going to be a long break.
Oh.
Because look at who's in their cast.
Yeah.
And season 5 scripts are not written yet.
No.
Yeah.
They could just end the show.
At season 4.
Well, I don't know what the show is.
If season 5 gets greenlit, they're all contractually obligated for a season 5. So.
Okay.
I imagine that'll be the end of the show. I don't.
Probably should be.
I think it probably should.
I don't have like 10 seasons of people cooking.
Also, season 3, I really enjoy season 3. I know not a lot of people do, but like, it is definitely meandering. Nice, but it's not. I think it's so different from the first 2, and I think 3 and 4 are quite similar. So
cool. It's nice to batch watch them then, I guess.
Yeah, I wonder how it'll be on a binge though. It's curious that they drop it as a binge when it is a more meandering show, and it's not like I need to see what happens next episode.
I think that's the reason to have it as a binge.
You think?
Yeah, like if a show doesn't have enough going on in one episode,
fair.
you want to watch it as a whole.
Fair.
It's TV where like you're like, fuck, I need to see the next episode. That you have.
If Ironheart dropped one episode, I don't know if I would have been like, oh,
yeah.
I need to see this next one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, and we'll talk at the end of Ironheart.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because that'll have happened.
I
Crazy.
wonder how that's going to be. I hope it's good.
So do I. I know people who've seen the entire thing. I won't say anything.
Okay.
Follow us on
Instagram
and
YouTube
and
TikTok
and
Spotify
and
Apple Podcasts.
Yay! Make sure to follow us on Spotify. That is the important one. And give us a
Yeah.
little rating. Rate us
5
5
stars.
stars. Yeah. And yeah, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.